Hello, everyone. My name is Angel, and beside me is a good buddy, Wyatt. And today is going to be the first episode of the Bucket Brigade bucket list. Now, I just want to get things clear. The bucket list isn't what it sounds like. Um, this podcast is mainly for talking about Dungeons and Dragons, video games, any type of topics that we kind of just feel like we want to talk about. Um, you can go ahead and follow our socials and so on YouTube, Twitch. We're setting up the YouTube after this episode. um, so we're just gonna go from there. Um, Wyatt, buddy, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Tell the world a little bit about yourself. But before you start, I'm going to crack open a celebratory rain, not sponsored, obviously.
Ah,
It's a rainstorm. I'm sorry to really let you down. I really like
no, you're
the
not letting me down. Those are
I,
still an amazing flavor.
I love the clean energy that it gives me. Calories are only
Not
at
sponsored.
yeah, not sponsored at all. It's
As we're going into depth and detail
it's
about what this
only
drink does.
it's only 10 calories, so that's why I really like it. Um, it's just improves your focus, accelerates your metabolism. It's also vegan in case you want to go vegan. Once again, not sponsored. I'm drinking Harvest Grape. I'm gonna crack it open here. I do have water to the right of me, so I am still maintaining that healthiness.
Well, well, while you drink, I'll introduce myself. Like Angel said, I'm Wyatt. I'm currently just living in Japan, my best life. So the reason we're cracking a celebratory rain is because for about the past 4 years of my life, I've had a rain at least once every other day. Probably gonna kill me one day, but we're living our best life until then, trying to enjoy the energy it gives me. Again, not sponsored, but hey, would appreciate it sponsored from Rain. Absolutely. Did I tell you the other day? I actually I saw an Instagram post that Rain posted, and it was like become a sponsor or like a member now. And I was like, what does that mean? So I followed the link.
Is
I
this my
can
chance?
it kind of was. It took me to a link and it was like become a spokesperson or I can't think of the exact verbiage, but like I followed the post and essentially I could sign up to become like a promoter. But then I was looking at all the posts that people were doing it for and I'm like, wow, these are really big people. Like big, not like they're famous. I
Oh,
was like, they were all working out and I was like, "Oh god, I
hey
just
man, you're big.
I
You're
just
big.
drink it to survive."
Which is even
I
better
just
because you're part of the mill. You're part of
yeah,
like big organizations, man. You're
it
out here
helps me get through
getting
that mid
big.
shift.
Yeah, you're out here getting big and stuff like that. Saving people,
Mhm.
saving the world. You know,
Exactly.
um,
But I think that's a pretty good introduction. Let's get into the topic of today. Like Angel was saying, we're mainly going to be a podcast about video games, D&D, and just any other nerd topic that we find that we just want to put our interests in that day. And I kind of posed a question today when we thought about making it because we were talking about topics to throw around. We thought about Bloodborne because we both it has a warm spot in our heart where I think that's really where our friendship blossomed. Where before we were really good friends, we lived together, but until we found hatred in each other, where I just kept throwing the boss fights, I think I really saw your true colors then, and I was
I
like, wow, I need this guy in my life permanently.
I think our true colors blossomed when um you heard a keyblade hit my wall several times throughout the night. Um,
I mean, that is also true. That is another time where I was like, damn, that shit's made of metal, huh?
it is, and
Uh,
it was funny.
yeah,
It was funny.
it was
Um,
just classic times of living together that we probably could have again if I ever moved near you.
I don't remember getting angry at the boss fights in Bloodborne when it comes to you.
No, because it was always just me.
Well, Oh, so you were getting angry, and I was just there.
No, I was the one. Yeah, I was always getting mad because I was like, this is terrible. Because initially, Bloodborne. Well, I guess now we're talking about Bloodborns, but
Hey,
let's
we're
just
fine.
continue.
It's
Yeah, I
from
was gonna say
software.
let's just ride it out. So like, I started with Bloodborne because you recommended it to me, and I owned the game. I think it either came with my PS4 or I knew it was a FromSoft game, and I was like, oh, I've heard about this game. I should buy this and see like what it's like. And it was I think I tried starting it 4 other different times. I just couldn't get into it because one, I didn't have anybody to play with, and then two, it was just really difficult. It was basically my experience with every other Dark Souls game. Unless I have someone to go with it through, I don't enjoy the game because I don't have time to take in what I play. I don't have time to take in the environment. All I have is searing hatred for just the most basic enemies that will gang up on me. And the best part was when we started playing Bloodborne was it was just I actually got to enjoy it because you got to tell me everything you did when you started playing. And it just kind of opened up the world to me. And like me knowing nothing and you knowing everything was probably another part that I loved about it, especially like the first time you see the warp of the like the amygdala or the amygdala like creature. And I was just like, what is that? And you're like, oh, that's right. Yeah, you don't know what that is. And you're like, yeah, just don't get grabbed by that. And I was like, okay. It was just it was a great time. And then my brother was explaining to me his first time going through it because my brother is a diehard FromSoft fan, and he absolutely, I would say he probably loves Bloodborne more than I. But his first run through, he ended up just going through and fist fighting everything because he didn't know where to grab the weapons. He would constantly just run past all the weapons in the hunter's dream, and he didn't know those guys were supposed to give you weapons. So he just kept going to all the fights, and he was like, eventually I guess I'll get a weapon. I just have to get through this portion first. And so like he spent like 5 hours like learning the move sets of all the villagers. And like because when you start off, you're in a very packed area. You're like in a city. And when you get to the town square, they're burning a monster or like a beast at like a cross for better lack of better terms, a stake, I guess actually. And he was just trying to figure out how to kill them all with his fist. And then it after that 5 hours, he figured out, oh, hey, there's weapons in the hunter stream that I get, and he just didn't know.
The closest weapon that I can remember off the top of my head is the saw spear. And realistically, you can kind of just run through that entire area just to get the saw spear. Um, I think I first played the game in 2015 or around that time frame. I remember I was in high school and I played it with my cousin, and we were able to beat like the entire story, and that was like before the DLC came out. And then when the DLC came out, I got all the way to the Orphan of Kaz, and I couldn't beat it. I couldn't for the life of me beat it. I had to put that game on pause for 3 to 4 years until I came back and restarted all over. And then I finally beat the Orphan of Kaz. I couldn't fully complete Bloodborne for like 6 years. And that's like
Honestly, I get that feeling.
that's not even including the chalice dungeons and stuff. That's not including the 100%. If you want to include the 100%, that's another like 8 years of just playing this game back and forth. Like I
Yeah, because you didn't beat it for 100% like until like last year or something like that, right? Or I just remember you being telling me I finally did it, and I thought I was like I have no idea what you're talking about because it was just a random text out of the blue. I think it was when I was in Turkey, or it could have been, or I could be thinking of something completely different. where I just thought you texted me, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And you're like, "I beat Bloodborne," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, man, you've beaten it like 7 times to my knowledge," and you're like, "No, I 100%ed it. I did all of the Chalice dungeons. I did all the boss fights," and I was like, "Oh, I
I did
I
everything.
guess."
I collected everything. I went balls deep into this game, and I 100%ed it. And I
And
think that was the first ever game I've platinumed ever in my life. Um, and I have invested like over like 400, 500 hours into that game alone. Um, which doesn't even include like the pain and anguish from when I first played the game and the fact that I couldn't beat the Orphan of Kaz. Like that character is long gone. I don't know where it went. I don't know. It's lost in the fucking cloud. Excuse my language, but it's lost in the cloud. I don't know where it's at, but that character's gone. I don't. My favorite
yeah,
weapon
the
was the Blades of Mercy, and the Blades of Mercy were pierce weapons. It was the two daggers
oh
that you can like
oh that's
split
yeah.
apart. I loved it. I don't know why. It was just so fun to use. I always enjoyed going fast paced, and that's why I like Bloodborne a lot because I feel like it was very different from Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and even Elden Ring. Um Sekiro, I think it's kind of the same pace, I want to say. I think Bloodborne might be a little bit faster. Um, but I also haven't fully completed Sekiro.
I think I played Sekiro 3 times, and I got past the dude on the horse, and I immediately went into the bull, fought the bull maybe 9 times. I didn't know how to kill it, and I went, I don't think I'm gonna play this game again.
I'm not fucking doing this.
No, actually, no. I did the full bull 9 times. I went, there's got to be another way I can go, and so I went a different direction. I think I went back into the past. Like there's a little section you can do
Yeah,
there, and like the boss at the end is just this giant fat dude. And like that might not even be the end. It could be the first boss in that area. I tried to fight that guy. I got close 11 times, I want to say. That's just a number I'm picking from my head. I just remember fighting this dude a lot, getting close to killing him so many times and dying. And after that, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. This game, like, I just can't do it.
I
And
I if I remember correctly, that's the first boss in that area. And then the
God damn it.
second the second boss is Lady Butterfly.
That sounds
Which
terrible.
is all about she's all about like hallucinations and stuff.
She
So
got pocket mushrooms she's throwing at you.
I
Pocket shrooms.
take
And you're like,
this.
oh my God.
I gotta eat this now.
You're
Mushrooms
like,
are
by laws of FromSoft, I have to eat this.
mushrooms are so nutritious. How can I not eat this? Man, this
God,
old lady's kind of nice. I wonder why she's giving me so many mushrooms.
just reminds me of the edits of like the Dark Souls 3 gameplay, and like the guy beats the bosses in completely different ways, and it's like you just befriend the butterfly lady. And she was like, yeah, she just gave me mushrooms. I gave her stuff back too, and we're actually we're pen pals now. But yeah, never made it that far. And
I go on.
uh, no, I was just gonna say that entire game was just so the skill gap between other Dark Souls games to that, where you can block everything, no matter what it is, you can block it if you have the poise for it, which was a little bar at the bottom. And I just remember being like, I can block everything. This game's gonna be easy. I was so wrong because there's like so much timing you need to nail. Because like there's like the it's not an exclamation point. It's like a kanji something where like it flashes red above their heads, and then you have to time it for a counter, and you can get that. You can kill a lot of bosses like that, but I never got the timing down. In my head, it's like an easier parry that I just couldn't get. like
Those,
in Elden Ring.
yeah, those I don't think I've ever parried in like a Dark Souls game. Like I've never tried to fully sit down and commit to parrying or learning the
Hmm.
mechanic to the point to where I would be good. Um,
I just started. Oh, go ahead.
go on, go on, go on.
I was gonna say I just started a new character in the seamless co-op mod for Elden Ring, and I just started a bandit because I was gonna try and do a bleed build from start to finish, and I was gonna use the Reduvia to at least get me to a different blade, the EO Kid blade. I can't remember what that's probably 100% butcher of that sword, but it's the sword that like you thrust it in and it like spins. It's like a drill. But like if you pair that with a bleed, it does really well. And so I started that, and I think I went through the entire first village, and I just parried everybody. It took me about 4 tries to get it, but like I was just parrying everything, and I was like, "There we go! Wow, this game's not that bad." When you the game's already not that bad. Out of all the FromSoft games, Elden Ring's the easiest, but it still holds a warm place in my heart as my favorite game.
I don't know. I feel like Elden Ring's a lot harder than Dark Souls 3. Personally,
Really?
because we
Well,
we played through Dark Souls 3 together, and the first time I ever beat Dark Souls 3, it took me about or yeah, it took me like Dark Souls 3 including DLC and stuff took me about 24 hours. We did it together.
mm-hmm.
Elden Ring, first time I played through it, I was at 100 hours before I was even at Millennia.
Well, I would say it's just because it's a bigger world, since a lot of that time is just traversing on horseback before you get the grace sites. And so I would say that's where a lot of the time suck comes from in Elden Ring is like you're just traveling from grace to grace as you're discovering it for your first time. Where after your second or third run through, you know where the fastest grace is, and you're like, all right, I don't really need this place. I don't need this place. But I just actually I'm going through Elden Ring right now with two of my friends that I grew up with in high school, and so we were going through it, and I took both of them. So I beat the game with one of them, and so we're both going through with our other friend, and we went to Volcano Manor because he wanted some armor, and I was like, well, we can kill like 5 people right now, 3 or 4 people, I should say, and get some good armor for you since you're still using like the knight's armor that are in the first village. And so we went to go get him that armor, and at the end you fight Prykard, the snake. I can't think of his full title, but like um I never took one friend to do that fight because I was like, hey, I'm going to streamline this experience for you. We are going to go through, I'm going to help you beat your first ever FromSoft game. And so when
Well,
we were
that's
doing
what
the
he
Volcano
wanted, right?
Manor, well, that's
If I
what the
recall.
first one wanted. The one that I took to Volcano Manor so he could get armor.
Mm.
That's what he wanted. But the other one was like, show me whatever you want. So I took him to Melania. I took him to Placidus Axe. I think I took him. Oh man, where else did we go? I took him to a lot more optional places because I knew he would enjoy that experience a lot more. And so I'll just start naming them, Devin and Cole. And so Cole was the one that I took through. We did a bunch of stuff together. We played like all those bosses, but I never took him to Volcano Manor because there was never really a need for him to go over there because he was going for an intelligence build and all the intelligence spells. I think 1 or 2 are over there. And besides grabbing those spells, we just never went over there. And so when we got to go into the Prycard, his area, they were like, what do we do? And I was like, first off, grab that weapon right there. You're going to want that. And then Cole was like, well, I have an intelligence build too. I was like, you're fine. You won't need it. Devin and I are going to need it. And he was like, okay, cool. And so like we grab it. And the first time we do it, um, Devin died right before phase 2. So like Cole and I are watching the cutscene, and then I look over to his monitor where he's streaming, and he's just watching us stand in place with the snake dead. And I'm like, oh God, we gotta. I was like, we have to wipe. He has to see this. And he was like, he doesn't see this. I was like, no, we're just standing looking at each other like a couple of chuckle fucks. And he was like, all right, all right, all right, we'll wipe. And so like as soon as we got in, we just hear him go together, and he swiped me, and I died immediately. And I was like, I guess I needed to heal. I didn't even realize that. And I was like, that's crazy.
This is
And so
perfect.
yeah, and I was like, oh, perfect, yeah, exactly. And so like we wiped, we went back in, and like after a little bit, Devin was like, hey man, I don't really have high MP. Like, is this gonna affect me using this weapon? I was like, what? Oh yeah, no, you're fine, man. This doesn't take magic. This takes stamina. And he was like, what? And like as he's like using the spear's ability, it's just using stamina. And he was like, this is amazing. He uses magic without using magic. He uses stamina. Oh my god, how many other weapons are like this? I was like, that is the only one. There are no other weapons that have an ability like that uses stamina. And he was like, oh man, well maybe I can use it on the outside. And I was like, no, that weapon is just terrible.
I was
And I
literally
just
just
felt
about to
so
say
bad.
that.
Yeah, it's not a great weapon.
It's
I think
just
I've
terrible.
watched.
It's like when you get the boss
Yeah.
as an ally, like type thing,
Oh
where they
yeah, and like
completely
they
nerf
like
it.
Yep.
That's
And so he pulled it out in after we fought it, and he was like, "What? So it doesn't do any of the stuff that was in there?" I went, "Nope, it's just for that boss fight." And he was like, "Why?" And I was like,
I
hey
don't
man,
know.
your guess is as good as mine. I was like, you'd be really upset if you played Dark Souls 3 then. Because the Yorm fight with the sword, and you have to use that sword's wind ability to be, and it does way more damage than anything else. And if you use that sword against Yorm, the fire giant, you can take him out pretty fast. But if you don't use that, you're in a fight for your life. And so I was like, oh my goodness, excuse me. But I was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. I know you really like that, but that is the only weapon that does it, and that is the only time it does it.
I don't
And that's when I
think
was like, all right, I'll go back and I'm gonna respec my stuff, and then that's when I hit into a never-ending loading screen. So the seamless co-op mod's really good. It's a lot of fun for people who don't like the fact that you have to keep summoning people. So people who aren't used to FromSoft games, I would recommend it. Great mod. You can do it at Vortex Mod Manager. A fantastic mod. I love it. I know you use it, Angel. Everybody I play with, I just make them use it because it's just easier. We don't have to worry about stuff. But sometimes it can just be a bitch and a half. How many runs have we lost to the mod?
I think we've lost two.
You've lost two. I've lost three.
You've lost a lot more. I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember we tried to use one, or we tried to do it one time and we couldn't fight Radon, and then this recent time, uh, we permanently locked ourselves out from progressing the story because
Yep.
Melania, we accidentally, not accidentally, I fully on purpose, did the three fingers, and um, Melania was
Yeah.
just like, screw you guys, and
Yeah.
left
She was like, "Oh,
before
I don't want
we,
to talk to you anymore."
yeah, before we fought Margot, right? Margot,
Yep.
something. Um,
The Fell Omen.
yeah, and we finished
Yeah.
that fight, and usually Melania comes in, it's like, you gotta extend to the furnace area, and
Yeah,
gives
you got
us
to reach the mountaintop of the fire giant or whatever, and then she gives you a seal to get to the mountaintop of the giants. And
that never
since
happened.
she thought we were, yeah, she thought we were stinky and was like, "Nah, y'all kind of suck. I'm not gonna give that to you,"
You guys are cheaters. You guys went with the three fingers instead of me.
which is tough because that character was on my laptop. I still have that character. That character is over level 200 right now. And that's like the most hours I've sunk into a character. And that character still works. It's just on my laptop. And there isn't a way I can transfer
Yeah.
his. Maybe there is actually. If I could I don't know how, but there's just no way to transfer my save data to my laptop to this PC. If there is, I don't know how And
Maybe you can use a USB and upload the files from that.
potentially, I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to do that because that character, like I said, has over 200 levels and is my favorite character I've had so far. And now that the DLC got announced, I was like, I can't even use that character because it's on my laptop.
Yeah.
And I just lost my other furthest playthrough where I was level 153. And I was like leveling up with Devin last night, getting him through we got to the mountaintop of the giants as well. And we ended up just not, or I went back to level up my Uchi katanas because I was going to do a dex build again. And whenever I loaded into the round table, it would load and then it would restart the load and it would be a new loading screen. And I would be like, and it just kept doing that over and over and over again. And there was just no way to fix it. So now I was forced to make a new character. And I was like, I hate myself right now because I've beaten the game 6 times. I think out of the 6 endings, I've done 4 of them. Because I want to say it's lunar, the moon ending with Ronnie, the deathbed companion ending, golden mask ending, and the chaos ending. Those are the 4 I've done. And then there's the dung eater, and then the bog standard. You just become Elden Lord ending. I've not done those 2. I've beaten the game 6 times, but I have not done the other 2,
I think
the
I've
dung eater and
I think I've only done
other.
the Ronnie and the Sacred Flame ending. Not Sacred Flame,
Wow,
but
I know what you mean.
the
The
Frenzied
chaos
ending.
flame.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, just because just the cutscene just looks so awesome.
it does. And then you realize that it literally engulfs the universe in fire.
Listen, listen. There's a lot of I see a lot of edits like on fucking TikTok. It's like
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice the world for her or sacrifice her for the world, and I'm like, I would 100%
Which
be
is
into that.
low key how Shabriri poses that question while he like manipulates you like, oh, you wouldn't hurt a harmless girl. Why would you kill her? And you're like, yeah,
Why would
why
I
would
kill
I
her?
do this? I don't know her.
What
Like
kind
that's
of
kind of
dick
messed
am I?
up. And it's not like the handler from Monster Hunter where it's like, absolutely, I'd kill her 10 times out of 10. I would end her life. But with like Melania, I'm like, man, she helps me. I level up through her. Like, I don't hate this person. Why would I do that? And then like that's low key how I ended up doing the chaos ending because I was like, I wanna save her. And then she's like, why would you do this? You've absolutely ruined the world. I'm like, oh, this isn't this isn't good. Whoops.
And the crazy thing is, you don't even have to do that ending. You can just become Elden Lord, and that's it. You're just imbued with the frenzied stuff. Like it doesn't soft lock you or it doesn't permalock you into doing that ending. It
I think
just
it does.
it does. I don't
I
remember
think it
that.
does because there's a soft lock up until a point where you have that ending, but you have to heal yourself with the golden unalloyed needle that you get from whatever her name is, Gertrude will say. I know it's the chick with the missing arm and the red hair. Um, I can't think of her name either. It's the one
Yeah.
that you find in the church in Caelid that has the scarlet rot. And like if you follow her quest line, you can go into the pool where she is and then heal yourself and then you won't be forced to do the it might be that pool, it could be another pool that I'm thinking of, but you go somewhere and you use the unalloyed needle and then you like heal yourself basically. You stitch up where the 3 fingers like touched you and it heals you and that's how you could just kind of avoid that ending.
Did not did not even didn't even realize
Well,
that that was an option. Like
once you get to the mountaintops of the giants and you do all that, you're hard locked in. You can't go back from that point. And we were already past that point when I realized it. And I was like, son of the. So I ended up doing the frenzied flame twice. So now that I think about it, I've only been in the game 5 times. I've said 6 like 3 times, and then I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? No, actually, I have only beaten it 5.
You know, now that I'm remembering, I think I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm actually just lying to everybody right now.
uh,
But go
moving
ahead.
forward,
Yeah.
before we continue talking about another From Software game or stuff, me and Wyatt took the time out of our day to watch the Shadows of the Erd Tree DLC trailer.
I should say again. As soon
Again,
as that shit dropped, I watched it. I was so excited for this.
I watched it twice
Like
today. Um,
I'm watching it right now. Do you think I'm kidding? I'm
you
not.
think I'm joking? The first time I saw it
I
was
need
today.
talking points.
First time I saw it was today. I took some notes um,
That's probably smart.
of the three things that kind of really stuck out to me, and
Okay.
I don't know who the big bad is for this DLC. I don't know if he, she, they, them, whatever, was given a name yet.
It is. It's Mesmer.
Mesmer, right? Okay, so
I think.
first thing that I thought of when looking at Mesmer is he. It looks like he is wielding the spear that I forgot what it's called. The gargoyle was wearing, are wielding, um, in front of like the beast guy, the one you give eyes to. It looked like
It's
that spear.
similar.
Um,
So it's not a dual blade. It is a spear, and it
yeah,
looks similar, but different, which is terrible to say. But yeah, I also heard that the game like takes you to the past. I think I've
mm-hmm.
heard that. I don't know if that's it for sure. I could be 1000% incorrect, and that is just false information that I heard. But that's what I heard. Where it takes you back. Where this is who's the demigod that Ronnie killed with the Knight of the Black Knives. It's like the thing that's rotting below. Oh, you don't know? Fuck. So
I don't
it's
know.
one of the red-haired siblings because it's like Ronnie or not Ronnie, fucking son of a bitch, Radagon, Millennia, and then there's a third kid, and it's supposedly that kid because they're thinking it's before the Night of the Black Knives happens or something like that, and so you're following the footsteps. Wait, oh no, okay. I remember what I heard now. You're following in the footsteps of like that third kid. And so like this is what he did before the Night of the Black Knives. I holy crap. I need to figure this out. You
Disclaimer:
say what
I'm not very lore in depth into
oh,
Elden Ring. Um,
Elden Ring's my jam. This is like the most I know about any game probably.
but I did see a spell that was used that was very similar to some of the. They're not tree sentinels, but you know what I'm talking about. The bulky boys with the shield, and they have like the horn spell, and they fly up in the air and kind of drill down. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I can't remember the exact name of the enemy, but
Oh, the guys that are on horseback?
not the tree sentinels. Are they
Okay, you
tree
said
sentinels?
hold on. Describe it a little more.
Um, it's where you get the like the charging spell where your shoulder kind of turns into a horn.
Oh, Crucible Knights.
Thank
My
you.
bad.
So I saw the flying spell be used during that trailer, and I put down that what if
Oh,
this is
yeah.
kind of the start, or like the character that you're playing as kind of starts these group of people that are the Crucible Knights, because of
Mhm.
course this is before, if I was watching the trailer correctly, this is before the Erd tree kind of sprouted and became what it is in the main game.
Yeah.
So that's what I it's what I'm thinking it's going towards. That
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of also the start of the Crucible Knights with their spells, um, since
Yeah.
the the wings and stuff kind of gave it away. Uh,
Yeah.
that's what I thought it was moving towards. Um,
It,
Go
it
ahead.
also has a very interesting starting point where it's Moog's Palace, where you're going to where like the seed of, I can't remember who it is that's in the seed or supposedly in the seed that is like broken open in Moog's Palace.
Isn't it a
And
girl or something?
no idea. Couldn't tell you. I wish I knew. I'd have to play through the game again because it's told. It's told because I want to say it's like keep wanting to say Ronnie. It's like Melania's brother that was supposed to be sprouting underneath the Haley tree, but Moog stole him and brought him to Mogwin's palace,
Hmm.
which I think is what happens. I could also be wrong again, but what are your other
I
points?
I I think that's a very interesting starting point, and I wonder if they were planning to do this from the beginning.
I could see it because you never. There's nothing really you do with it.
Yeah,
Like it
exactly.
just happens, and you're like, okay, so what is this? And it's just like, oh, it's just kind of like a seed
It's
that never sprouted.
yeah, it's nothing. So
Yeah.
I just have a feeling that they planned this from the beginning because it's been implemented or it's been in the game since day one.
Yep.
For Mog's Palace or Mogwin's Palace, um, but
Good grief.
I know a really big topic that was being discussed all over TikTok, and all over kind of the Elden Ring community about the martial arts in
Yep.
the game.
It looks.
It
It
looks
looks
great.
so much fun.
It looks great. It looks fun. However, and I'm not sure if I just didn't do my research well enough, they look like ashes of war.
That's what I was thinking. I was about to say they're probably just ashes of war that people use. Cause I could see it being like instead of like a weapon that you use, I bet it's an ash of war that you can just use via a certain type of weapon. Like maybe it's only a dagger, or maybe it's like the claws that you have
Yeah,
that you can equip, where it's just like a fist weapon.
and
I could see that as well.
this is gonna be so unfortunate though. I wish I wish they had just a basic.
Fist weapon where you martial artly fight like that.
Yeah, instead of just the same old hit overhead hit, and,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the fighting style is, or the
Yep.
for the basic weapons. Um, but however, if I'm wrong, I would really hope to see other, I guess, martial arts used other
Yeah,
than just the one we saw in the trailer. Uh,
I agree.
but and then another thing. What was the guy's name again? Girl, guy, they, them, name again.
What I don't know who you're talking about.
The big bad,
Like,
the big bad,
oh, Mesmer.
Mesmer. The armor he's wearing reminded me of the dragon armor.
The dragon armor.
Yeah, like the one to where it kind of looks like you have a dragon wing on your back. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh man, I do.
The
I
dragon
wanna.
scale armor or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what it's called, but it reminded me of that. So I was wondering if you believe that there's any connection between that and Mesmer's armor that he's wearing in the DLC trailer.
Oof. Uh, I wish. I could connect it in a way. I have no idea.
I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't though. I wish I could, but I can't. I have no clue. Like I'm looking at a lot of the fights right now, and oh gosh, I'm just getting more and more excited. And like his like man, it's like if Moog was like Mesmer, if Moog's fighting style was just more dangerous. Because I'm watching the boss fight over and over again. I never found the Moog boss fight to be difficult. Never
I
at
did.
once.
I did. I did.
I was gonna say I know of people that did find it difficult, but maybe it's just because I found him later in the game where I was overpowered for him. So I would just roll in and then me. Probably it's probably because of the fact I used my mimic tier, where both of us would just go in on this dude and we just broke his stance over and over again. And so I would just fight, 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 slash, 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 stance break, and then visceral. As soon as he gets up, doing the same thing, and like he's trying to do all of his long-winded attacks as I'm just proxying bleed and just hammering this dude home. Did
Were
not
you
find him difficult.
were you one of those people that used the Rivers of Blood?
No, so
Okay.
I found out about the Rivers of Blood much later than everybody else did, and I was like, "Oh, this is a really good weapon." Okay, and I went to use it, and it was already nerfed at that point, and I was like, "Son of a!" I never
I
got to use it in its prime.
When I was on mid shift, uh, earlier in my days, uh,
Yeah.
we were allowed to bring in Elden Ring. Like
Wow.
we were allowed to bring in a console to kind of just pass the time because nothing really happened. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. However, everybody, I had this supervisor because I would play as a girl. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Listen, if you're gonna sit down for hours at a time, you would at least appreciate looking at a woman rather than another dude.
A lot of people make that argument. A lot of people make the argument that, oh, you just, a lot of negative things, a lot of
Yeah.
negative comments. Um, and I had this supervisor that would just look at me with such like, what is wrong with you? When I started um, my Elden Ring playthrough as a girl, and when I finally beat it, I texted him and I was just like, "Hey, I beat Elden Ring." And he's like, "Dude, that's awesome." And then I added, "As a girl." And he's like, and he's like, "You can lose my number now." And I was just like, I just thought it was a little funny little thing. But it seemed like everybody that was playing Elden Ring at the time was only really using Rivers of Blood.
Yep.
And me, I didn't. I was using the the executioner sword, the one where you throw
Yep.
like the big one, the long
It
sword.
goes out of your hand.
hmm
Yep.
I was using that. Um,
I was a strength boy all the way using Guts's greatsword.
I was, I think I was faith and strength, if I remember correctly, because I
Yep.
wanted to initially do a spear build. But then I found out all the spears just suck. Besides one certain spear, um, which is of course is Vikes
Yeah, that causes
madness
chaos
buildup.
buildup. Oh yeah, madness. That's what it is.
I love all the madness spells. I don't know why. I hope they add some into the DLC. I just don't know what they would add if they did add a spell.
Possibly. I could see them adding more spells. Chaos being one of them.
I don't think so.
I don't know. But what would you do if you get to meet Vike in this before he gets like the madness buildup?
That would
I think
be
that would be really cool.
that would be dope, but it wouldn't make sense for
It
the
wouldn't.
timeline.
No, it wouldn't, but it'd still be cool.
The the
There was
the lion that I saw in there reminded me of the lion on. Uh,
Horlu,
is that his name?
like the first
The
Elden
Elden
Lord.
Lord. Yeah, the Elden Lord.
Yep.
Um,
So I can't. Godfrey, I think is his name or something like that.
yeah.
Because before he marries Marika and like ditches Renala, he marries her, but like she wanted a commander, but she needed somebody that would keep his head, because before that he was known as Horlu,
Mm,
and he was like this brawling berserker basically, and is what he is after he kills Horlu, and or not Horlu, but after he kills the lion. I can't remember what the lion's name is. It might also be that. But like the lion suppresses the bloodlust of him so that he can keep his calm more often. So that's when he fights us, he realizes that's what he's going to need to defeat us. So that when he kills the lion, all of his bloodlust comes back. And he's like, I no longer fight you as Godfrey. I fight you as Horlu. So I saw the same lions and I was like, ooh, I wonder if it's more of the same kind of like race that he is.
yeah. And so I wonder if us fighting it, like, of course, like the remembrance and stuff, I feel like are still going to be a thing.
Yep.
Uh, but I don't think the round table is going to be a thing, or like the fingers, or like the two fingers, or anything like that are going to be a thing um, during this time of the
I
DLC.
could I could see both being a thing, or they're just not a thing and they're still the old school round table hold
Yeah.
where that round table hold is still there. And for the DLC, there's just no round table. I could see it possibly being their fingers, because every basically a lord has a set of two fingers that they like have a great rune for. So unless this takes, I know Marika is still should be like alive in this, I think. So if she's still in this, and I'm pretty sure Queen Renala is in this
Yeah.
DLC, and so I still think there might be fingers potentially. I wouldn't be surprised if they did take a back seat for the DLC,
Mm-hmm.
but so yeah, whatever.
um. Yeah, I'm kind of curious on what stance they're gonna take in the DLC, because who's gonna kind of be your guide through all of this? Like, I wonder who the guide's going to be, because there's no way it's going to be America,
Well,
America, it's America,
America,
America. Uh, you know who I'm talking about?
the lady that like crucifies herself.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about then.
is that her name?
Yeah,
Okay,
you being confused is making me confused.
I'm just
Like
confirming
like
because
she's at the very end of the game and like she's like up like this, and
yes,
then when she falls down, it's Radagon.
yes.
Okay, yeah, that's Queen America.
Okay. The way I was saying it, I kept on saying America, and it made me think of I'm just saying America without the A.
Yeah, yep,
So
America.
that's why I was getting confused. Uh, I I just don't feel like America is going to guide us. I feel like it would either
I
be like another tarnished, or like the beginning of like the old sisters. You know,
yep.
I feel like
Okay,
either
man.
they would guide or not.
Sorry. At the very end of the trailer, there's like the collector's edition. I'm not gonna lie, I really want that. I didn't see
I
this until now.
I did
I
not
I left it.
see the collector's edition.
It looks so good.
What's in the collector's edition?
It comes with a hardcover art book that's 40 pages. A big, it just looks like a box. I don't know what that is. But then It comes with a voucher code and the official soundtrack to the game. And then a 46 centimeters tall statue of Mesmer the Impaler. So like it's I don't know how big. It's probably, wow, I'd be really sad if it's about the size of one of my Dekus. If it's like this big, I think I'd be a little sad. But at the same time, I'd still be pretty pumped about it.
I think there would be more detail put into it if it was the same size. But then again, they also probably mass produce those like crazy.
Oh, I agree.
Um,
Just so that enough people can get it. Wow, that looks amazing. But another thing I wanted to touch on was there's the possibility of having reversed sword like or reverse gripped like samurai swords.
yeah.
So like in one of the stances he uses, or the I think of what that's called right now. Oh my goodness, what is it? Ash of War. In one of the Ashes of
Oh,
War they use, it looks like he switches the, or he one of the yeah, one of the swords he has is in a reverse grip. I don't know if he swaps to that, where it's like it swaps to the reverse grip, or if it is, or if he's always holding it that way. I'm excited for that just to see what that brings. I don't think it's going to be much different than normal, but I'm still enticed about it, if that makes sense.
I wish they added, in which it kind of like hits onto it after that like reverse grip, like
Yeah.
throwing knives and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like they kind of appear back into its hands or into the tarnish's hands, um, where it made me think it's like, oh, it's just a magical like weapon, like
Weapon.
a magical ranged weapon. It's where they throw it, it connects, and then it comes back. You know, like
Oh, yeah,
just
I see what you're
like
saying.
yeah, just like throwing knives that they're thrown from the hip and
Yeah,
stuff.
because he's like throwing, and then they're just in his hand again as he throws two more.
Yeah, so it made me kind of hopeful because I was like, oh, did they kind of bring in kind of like an endless like throwing knife weapon or something along those lines? And, th- and then the bow. Did you see the bow to where it's just like
The,
and it's
yeah,
just
the
like
crossbow, that's just a like a
it,
machine gun where it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like 5 shots in a row. Speaking of that, two things. One, that, or well, I guess three things, because that crossbow looks really good. Two, the sword on the dude's back doesn't look like any of the great swords I'm used to seeing, because it doesn't look like Moonveil, or not Moonveil, the Moonlight Greatsword. It doesn't look like Guts' greatsword, and the armor just looks so good. And last but not least, the bucket helmet the man's wearing looks immaculate.
I didn't really see
If you go to
up
like
close.
201, I have it full screened right now. His helmet, like you get to see it for like half a second before his arm covers it up, but like it just, his entire armor set looks dope. And I don't know if it's like someone you fight or if that's like the player.
So
Yeah, there's just
201. It
yeah,
kind
the
of
entire armor
looks
set
like
just looks awesome. If you want me to be 1000% honest, it's a more of a gutsy like armor set for me. Like if they added Guts' armor to Elden Ring, this is probably what it would look like. That's what I think about the everything except for the helmet.
it, it does look like they added a different head for like
Yep.
the dragon spells.
Oh, the
Um,
dragon spells.
yeah. Did you see like the
Oh, is that
bear?
what? Oh,
The
like
bear.
right after that?
Yeah. It looks like a bear. I could be 100% wrong. It looks like a bear.
Oh, yeah, it does. It does look like a bear mixed with an omen.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that that bear is connected to the bigger ones that we see in the main game.
Yeah, the rune bears.
Yeah. So maybe not. I don't know. I'm excited though for that helmet to be in the game because the Bucket Brigade is nothing without its helmets. Um,
Exactly. I will not be leaving that area until I get that armor set or the helmet.
it seems like there's a lot of bosses in this DLC that
Agreed.
I wasn't anticipating. I
Yeah,
feel like
hold on.
there's
Let
a
me go from
lot
start to
more.
finish. I
I,
agree because there's
I'm just looking at my phone. Um, it looks like there's a
Mesmer.
shield that looks like it's kind of
Oh.
used as a main weapon, um, which I like. I find that dope because there's points
Mm-hmm.
on the front and the back or the top and bottom of the shield, uh,
Yep.
which I'm like, oh, I that could be handy dandy.
You could even use that for the character that you made for the
I would have to
poise build.
I would have to restart all over. I
Well, hey
will.
man,
I
I
am
have a
gonna.
character that's ready and waiting.
I am gonna have to restart over.
He's only level 20. Oh man, this game just looks. And I don't know if I want to do like if I want to make a character on what is on the seamless co-op, or if I want to make the character in regular Elden Ring. Because if it's seamless co-op, then I'm gonna have to wait for the seamless co-op to be able to work for
The
the new
DLC.
DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, fuck, do I just make a new character for regular Elden Ring? Which, I mean, not an issue. At least I'll know I'll never lose this character.
I don't think madness is a thing in this yet, because madness stemmed from the three fingers, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think Shibari could potentially be a presence, but I don't know if he'll show face.
Deathblight
Also,
is very prominent from
yeah,
what I
there's
see in the
the entire
trailers.
swamp.
Yeah, the entire swamp, the enemies, even that lion spits it out kind of at the player itself.
Do you think that's Deathblight? I kind of assumed it was
I
like
thought it
how
was Deathblight.
Malakath was it giving you those spells where you could throw rocks at people?
Oh, maybe.
Because that's kind of what I
But he's
saw.
just spitting out rocks.
Which also makes me think it could potentially be Deathblight, but I thought Deathblight would be a little bit darker. Damn, dude,
Yeah,
this golem is intense.
I think that's a weapon, Wyatt. The
What?
reverse grip.
I hope so, man.
I think it's a weapon. I think it's a like because they have yet to introduce really dual weapons into Elden
Mm-hmm.
Ring. So maybe that might be the first dual weapon.
I would like that. I would like that a lot. Man, oh my goodness, there's just so many boss fights. Like the golem, this fucking. Never mind. Now that I'm watching that, that does look like a mixture of Deathblight and other stuff. Well, shit, you showed so much about the boss fight. I feel like I know his attacks already. But,
Man,
anyways,
it just seems like a lot, and I'm excited for when it comes out fuck, in gosh dang June. But
oh, I know. Gives us time to get our characters ready.
but yeah, I think it's about time we wrap up a little bit. Um,
I agree.
we are at 58 minutes, which is right around the time we kind of said, "Hey, this is how long we kind of want it." But talked about a lot today, mainly about Fromsoftware and Elden Ring.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, this is kind of a taste of what you can see about looking forward, not just specifically about Elden Ring and about FromSoft, but like discussions that will be happening in the future about games that show interest to us, D&D stuff that interests us, and more. Like, there's a large umbrella that we could capture with what we talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna try and push out an episode once, like twice a month and stuff. We're gonna
That's fair.
hopefully try and do that, just as a steady pace, because my schedule is very different compared to yours, and so on. So, luckily, we were able to have this time to kind of come together and just kind of just talk about some interests that we both have. Uh, Moving forward, thanks everybody for listening in, tuning in. Um, you can once again follow us at our socials. If you enjoyed us, feel free to follow. And, any recommendations are also welcomed. But yeah, Wyatt,
Yes,
did you want to finish anything off? Finish your last words?
absolutely. Like Angel said, if you have any game recommendations or just recommendations in general of stuff that you guys want to hear about, like discussions, anything that you want, feel free. Please post them in the comments. Along with that, our socials will be in the description of this video. I hope we do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was gonna say we said it, and I was like, huh, we didn't plug it, and I was like, wait, that might be because we have to make them first. But um, we have some, but not we don't have everything. We also do stream. We're gonna be streaming here. We're gonna hopefully get something going. We're gonna be streaming at the Bucket Brigade on Twitch. So feel free to follow us there and just keep an eye out to see whenever we stream. I know it's gonna be a little bit of an erratic schedule at first, but that's just us gonna be figuring out what works best for each other. But I think with that being said, thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Once again, thanks for coming out to the Bucket Brigade's bucket list. All right. Goodbye.